Please join us inside the auditorium so that we can start the session in next 2 minutes. Just to recap what has been done since morning in the inaugural session, we have seen the presence of Mohammed Abraham, who is the ADG of Kerala, and he's also nodal officer of Cyber Dome, where he talked about the importance of mindset, skill set, and tool set in cyber security. And then the conference was officially inaugurated by Sri Rajiv Kumar, Principal Secretary of Department of IT and Electronics, Government of West Bengal, where again he also talked about the importance of creating awareness among the masses for to tackle cybersecurity. And then we had two presentations by Mr. Nishan Rana, Senior Solution Sales, and Mr. Srinath Vishwas, Regional Sales Manager, Netscope, where they talked about the overall market scenario and how their companies are contributing each in their own way in terms of cyber security and enterprise security. And then we had a special session by Mr. Nikhil Mahadeshwar, founder of Cyber Secure India, and he gave a live demo of digital forensic investigation, and that was quite interesting. Trust me on that. Then we had to then we had a session on the best practices of digital governance and digital healthcare in states. There we had the presentation by Mr. Sanjay Kumar Das, who is the Joint Secretary, IT Government of West Bengal, and also the program mentor of this conference. He talked about governance, risk, and compliance in the area of breaches, and what kind of work being done by the West Bengal government in terms of awareness for the cybersecurity domain. And then we had a special address by Kumar Vinit, Special Secretary, Department of IT and Electronics, and MD of UPDESCO from the state of Uttar Pradesh, where he talked about how how Uttar Pradesh is marching towards its vision of reaching $1 trillion economy, and how his department is. That session was interesting. We had seen the presence of Mr. Partho Sengupta from IT's Infotech, Mitali Bishwas from CK Birla Hospital, Kaushik Shah from RPSG Group, Abhishek Kaur from M Junction Services Limited, Subroto Roy from Skipper Limited, Shubhankar Rudra, I think he did not come, and Mr. Gaurav Ranade from Ra Infotech Private Limited, and Manoshi Shah, founder, owner of macOS Infotech. And now we are back, and it's good to see that generally we have a feeling that post-lunch session we see empty hall, but it's not the case as of now. So that's a good sign. It means that the discussions happening since morning is of interest for many of us. That thank you so much, all of you, for making it happen. So let me invite Mr. Devashish Mojumdar, Director, Webel Fujisoft Vara Center of Excellence, Industry 4.0. They are doing a lot of interesting things. Center of Excellence, especially I think 3D printing and all those sectors. He'll shed some light on that. But I have to play the role of devil's advocate. Mr. Devashish, you have only 8 to 10 minutes with you. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for him, please.
Thank you, Sovik. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be a part of this event. I represent Webel Fujisoft Vara Center of Excellence. Um, this was created in the year 2019 by the Government of West Bengal under the Department of IT&E and the Department of MSME, wherein the idea of the state government was to develop talent, drive MSME growth, create job opportunities, innovative design and hub, and access to the technology and access to the markets. There are two basic parts for this. Basically, one is to develop talent by providing them training in Industry 4.0 technologies, in the emerging technologies, as well as to help the MSME clusters who are based across West Bengal in different clusters, whether it is plastic, toys, metals, or anything else. The mission is, and I'll not spend because he has given me a time of 10 minutes, I have to finish it fast. So, as I said, I represent Fujisoft Incorporated Japan. We are a $2.87 billion company, largest system integrators from Japan. And Vara Technology, which is our partner company, which is into cybersecurity, blockchain, and into toll solutions. This project, as I said, was started in 2019, funded by both the departments, Department of IT and the government, and the Department of MSME. And the idea, again, was to develop talent. So we have five different areas wherein we work in: technologies, production design and mechanical design, 3D manufacturing, cybersecurity, embedded systems, and data sciences. In these, we do technology training, infrastructure as a service, consulting and advisory, product development, incubation, and co-working spaces. So all of these technologies that we see over here, they have a very dedicated lab for the students, for the MSMEs, for the corporates, which they can use at the lowest prices available within the country. We are, for 3D manufacturing, we are at least 30 to 40% cheaper than our nearest competitor. Right now, we have around 70 plus clients across India, and I will come to those slides later on. So these are our some partners for our training as well as technology partners. So we have tied up with Intel and NVIDIA and Boston for your data science and your IoT. For Dassault Systems, it is the production and mechanical design. Fujisoft is there as a partner for the embedded systems. Stratasys is for the 3D manufacturing. Trend Micro, Fortinet, IMI, and ThinkCyber are for the cybersecurity partners. Out of which ThinkCyber provides us a simulator as a service for our students to learn, for the corporates to practice on that. And we do the entire training on the simulator for the students or for the working professionals or for the corporates. So these are some of the courses which are offered typically at the COE. We do awareness workshops and boot camps for various government organizations, for various private organizations, for various colleges, as well as for your universities. We do standard short courses in each of this technology. We have postgraduate certificate programs, which are a year-long program, uh, which are into these four technologies. Then we do custom-made courses for corporates and groups. Over here in this slide, we are basically talking about cybersecurity only. Right now, we are talking about data analytics and all. We do also do hire, train, deploy. We go to a company, we ask them that what kind of skills they would require from a employment point of view, and then we train them on those particular skills, and based upon that, then they take the interview. The companies take the interview, and they are selected. So we are currently rolling out our hire, train, deploy for around 4 or 5 organizations based across India. We also do advanced certificate courses, which are roughly around 200 hours and are roughly on the range of 25,000 to 50,000 rupees, which is again certified by the OEMs as well as the Webull Fujisawa Vara. And also the participants have a choice that they can choose an OEM. So since we have multiple OEMs, so you can choose which OEM you want to get a certification on that particular subject. We also do Trend Micro Global Certification courses. Since we are a partner for Trend Micro across the world, we do Trend Micro Global Certification courses. So any of your employees who would like to get a Trend Micro certification, they can come to us. We have that facility, we have that platform wherein they can get trained on those services. The training is being directly provided by Trend Micro along with Webull Fujisawa Vara Center of Excellence. These are some short courses that we have: 30 hours, 50 hours, 40 hours, network security, cloud security. But we also do, as I said, bespoke, training programs. So we can define what kind of training programs you want. These are some short courses by Trend Micro, which are also CIO, CISO, CTO, and all. So these are some global certification courses by Trend Micro again. So about our 3D manufacturing facility, this is the largest 3D manufacturing facility in the entire Eastern India. We have 8 3D printers, FDM, PolyJet, and we are soon going to add one more SLA printer into it. We have a roughly around 28 different kind of materials which is available to us, all thermoplastics. But now we have, because of our ecosystem, we have ventured into metal as well, into other areas as well. So we do 3D design concept, vacuum casting, sheet metal prototyping, machine proto, 3D scanning, soft injection mold tooling, and everything. So these are some of the machines that we have in our ecosystem. So our largest sector for 3D manufacturing is automotive, followed by manufacturing. 50% of our orders come from West Bengal, 50% from the rest of India. We have roughly right now 70 clients across India, and we are growing at a rate of 125% every year in 3D manufacturing alone. Uh, we are we have clients like Indian Oil Corporation, Motherson Sumi, we have Forbes Marshall, we have Tata Motors, we have Hero Motors. Then a lot of MSME units from West Bengal, they are coming to us for new product development. We do quality testing for them also. We do product standardization for them also. Anything to do with any kind of product, we help them out. We also are helping the MSMEs in automating their processes, as well as bringing quality change into their product line. So I will not go into deep into this. So what we are here to invite all of you who are participating today for a free one-day workshop on cloud governance, risk and compliance, and on critical infrastructure control, system security. This is a free one-day program for all of your employees and the CIOs. They can come over to the CEO. They can attend this session. The certification would be given by the Webel Fujisawa Vara Center of Excellence, as well as a OEM certification would be given as well to the employees over here. We will, after this event is over, we will mail every one of you with the course details so that you can nominate people from your company to come and participate in this event. You don't have to pay, it's just a free. As a part of the government initiative, we have to do a lot of awareness programs among the companies, among the MSME units, and we would like your participation on the same. So this is more on the news. I would now like to call Mr. Kaushik Haldar, who's from Bebel, who is also the SPOC for this project, to say a few words on behalf of the Bebel Fujisawa Vara Center of Excellence. Thank you for your patience and thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Devashish. Actually, Devashish spoke about the Center of Excellence, which has been developed by Government of West Bengal Department of IT and being managed by Webel itself. I am managing the projects on behalf of Webel itself. Devashish spoke about the courses, the offerings, the services that provided by Center of Excellence, the retail. I will not bore you by telling again on this. I just I just like to request all of you. I don't know whether you have visited our Center of Excellence or not. I invite you all, the policymakers, the decision makers who are present over there. Please come and visit our Center of Excellence and see the state-of-the-art infrastructure Government of West Bengal has created in terms of 3D printing, in terms of cyber security, in terms of IoT and data sciences. We have created a state-of-the-art infrastructure in very near to this place, that is Newtown, just besides the Kadigari Bhavan. So from government and from Webel, I would like all the industries, because the center has been created not for the government, but it is a participations also required from the industry itself. So I like to invite you all to come and visit our Center of Excellence and explore the opportunities that how your industry can join hands with governments to improve, to facilitate, and to have this facility for your industry itself. Thank you very much. God bless you. Yes.
Yeah, I am Sarup Brahma. I take care of the administration on behalf of Webel, and my past experience has been in the private sector. I see there's a lot of private sectors out here in bulk. I was just like to add what Kaushik and Devashish has said, is that here you can get a lot of this prototype, which are world class. You know, specifically from Skipper and other steel plants and all the people have come. A lot of this prototype which you want to make is one of the India's only 4 different areas they make here, and one of them is in Fujisoft. So like prototype, you can make your lot of this a product, which is a world-class product. We go into automobiles, like starting from Volkswagen to General Motors, and also very recently Schindler's have also. So you make those plastic ones. You can have that. Whosoever is interested, as Kaushik has said, please visit this. You will really be surprised that something of this kind exists in Calcutta. Thank you.
Great to know, and thanks to all three of you for illuminating us about the Webel Fujisoft Vada Center of Excellence Industry 4.0. So we move on to our next panel discussion, and it's a very pertinent topic, especially relevant for the manufacturing infrastructure segment. We touched upon now a lot of these IoT deployments, Internet of Things deployments. Okay, so just before we start the panel discussion, I would like to call once more Mr. Debashish Majumdar on the stage. And may I request Mr. R.N. Patra to hand over a token of appreciation to Mr. Debashish Majumdar. Can we have Mr. Debashish Majumdar? Yes. Sir, on stage. Thank you. And Mr. Patra, I'll request you to stay back here. IoT deployment and IoT deployment in many cases we see with increasingly manufacturing and infrastructure organizations going for IoT deployment. The problem we see is the level of awareness about IT security obviously has increased, and we have seen it since morning. But the OT security is purely in the production environment. So IT part is fine, but in a manufacturing setup, we are talking about the production environment, the real factories. So the production environment, the OT, the operational technology, that OT security is still not matching to the level of the IT security. And as a result of that mismatch, a lot of these IoT deployments are failing. So discussing the future of OT security, marrying IT and OT successfully for IoT deployment. We have with us already on the dais, Mr. R.N. Patra is a Chief Manager ENT from Coal India, one of the largest PSUs of the country. We have with us Mr. Kripaduti Sarkar, CIO Ambuja Neotia. We have with us Mr. Sriram Chavali, CIO Bamal Lorry. And we have with us Mr. Manik Paul, CIO of Vikram Solar. So, once it takes. So we have all the panelists on the stage now. And let me start with Mr. Patra. See, when we are talking about the OT environment, typically in the production environment and OT security, we are talking about how, as an organization, you are looking at building a sort of cybersecurity resilience across the OT environment in the organization.
Good afternoon, all the delegates. Good afternoon, Mr. Rajneesh, and the panelists on the dais. regarding this session on the marrying IT and OT, so science says if you have a good partner in marriage, then you are successful in life. Even Washington University have a study on it, and they found that those peoples have prudent and a good life partner, they are more efficient in their work. Similarly, when we are deploying IT with OT, both should be properly handshaked, mutually compatible, then they can give you the better performance as well as better security. What Rajneesh told regarding the OT security, definitely there are a lot of challenges in the OT security. And when you are deploying some IT devices with OT like sensors and all these things, and when the sensors are being deployed in a legacy system, so there are a lot of challenges as the legacy system may not be able to cope with the latest hardware, software, something like that. So in OT, my experience of suggestion is that you have to deploy layered security. That means each and every layer you have to identify where the risk is involved, and you have to deploy the security according to a risk. And when these data are transmitted from OT or IT to your database, each and every gateway should have a secure devices, and you should have a visibility over your IT and OT. In OT, mostly the awareness of the operators or awareness of the peoples is very much important, because whatever the data are being generated from the sensors or IT, and that is matched with the OT for the operations, there is a lot of vulnerability or risk factor is involved. So awareness of the operator, people, and the layer security is much more important.
Okay, great. Thank you for your opening remarks,
Thank you.
Mr. R.N. Patra of Coal India. I'll come to you, Mr. Kripaduti Sarkar of Ambuja Neotia. We talked about the basic premise or the fundamental principle of this discussion is how do you build the synergy between your IT security level and OT security level? What are your recommendations?
I'm starting. Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you. So I'm starting with take context that previously the shop floor owned by the product manager or product lead or technology leaders.
Exactly.
So no way IT has an intervention or any influence on the policy making on that floor. So therefore, all the instruments, SCADAs, all the data they are operating with, they are taking the notes on the pen and paper, and then finally it's submitted to MIS to the IT department. So it's a transmission, manual transmission. So nowadays, within last 2 decades, so slowly wherever there is a generation of the data, management also understand that that data has to be secured. So they understand that it's not handed over manually like a answer script to somebody somewhere. So that point of time, actually the influence of the IT head or the CIO or CTO on the shop floor or those SCADA machines on the data established. So by virtue of that, and it's actually boom for us because we are just managing with that legacy that we did not to fight with the shop floor manager or the product manager that I have to intervene on this data security, because we already are earlier generations. I mean, the last 10 years, they fought for it and they won the battle. So now what, as you rightly pointed out, so whenever we marrying that IT and OT, so the ground is already set up. So now whenever we draft a policy for the data security, it complies IT devices, end user, as well as the all OT devices also. So it's not like 10 years or 20 years ago where OT devices are only shop floor manager has a authority to do the policy on that.
But here, if I may ask, the shop floor manager, rightly as you mentioned, but primarily even now, for many of the, if may not be for the large, but the mid-sized manufacturing and engineering organizations, the production environment and the legacy still rests with the shop floor manager.
True.
So how is that?
That is where I'm coming to that. So therefore, so whenever it's a management committee where we are placing that all the security models or the policies related to that data security and the cyber security, it's generic. It's a standard, and the CIO has ownership on that. It's a signing authority, but certainly take inputs from the shop floor manager. So therefore, now shop floor manager under the influence of the CIO. Previously, it's the reverse. So it's the role changed. So therefore, we have an influence on that because management hears CIOs on the data security. So therefore, and now coming back to how they marrying together or how they work together. I mean, how we do. So whenever we draft policy, we are actually making section for the shop floor also, so for the OT also. So therefore, it's a single policy having both the entity, both the policies together. So manageability on the manageability concern, like I'm just giving incident management. There is some incident, so it's managed by a single team operating on a same SOP. Only thing is the operational difference. So, so it's like in a medical science, somebody is orthopedic, somebody is a child specialist, but both dealing with the same human as a patient.
Exactly. Great. Lovely analogy. I'll come to Sriram Chavali from Bamalodi, and I'll come straight to the manufacturing level questions. How are you protecting the industrial controls and the SCADA systems typically in the operational environment?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dr. Sriram. I'm from Bamarlari and Company Limited. See, these SCADA systems and all, they're all control systems which have remote connectivity and all. They normally will have. So in the earlier days, what used to happen is that they used to be isolated, as he's mentioning. They're isolated systems. Now, as the IT and OT getting married and the data transfers and are happening, so many times people, what they try to do is they try to connect these systems, with the IT networks and all. So when they're connecting them, then what will happen is the IT systems are more secure because there is an awareness there one step ahead. Whereas the operational technology wise, these devices are one step behind for many reasons. Say, for example, if you take the operating systems of these systems, they may not be up to date. They may be old ones. The fear here or the problem here is that if I want to upgrade the operating system, I have to shut down my operations, and it is going to be a huge loss. So there are various factors for which they are not being upgraded. Also, the OEMs, they do not, these were procured at the time when the cybersecurity concept itself was not in head. So many security controls and security things are not available also. So under these circumstances, one of the options that is available is to study these OT devices and ensure that we are having separate networks for these things. Wherever there is a connectivity requirement that is required, those are the connectivity requirements that we need to provide. Other than that, we must not give the complete open connectivity.
Exactly.
And second important point is access control wise also, we must not, for example, if you enter into the system, what will happen? You have complete access to the entire network. That is the kind of environment available earlier. What we need to do is that we need to come out of that and see that whatever minimum access is required, only that minimum access must be given. So these are the kinds of steps we need to put in place to protect the systems. So though the device currently is not completely upgraded, at least the environment where it is put in, at least going to give it some protection so that we have the assurance.
Excellent. You sort of hit the nail on the head. I remember about a couple of months back, a similar panel discussion in Delhi with manufacturing companies and even large companies. I can even name Maruti and Pepsi. Even they were telling in the operational environment, they're still using Windows NT. And that migration, now Microsoft has stopped Windows NT.
Correct.
So there is no support from Microsoft. So that is, and so there also the recommendation came that separating the IT network and the OT network. Excellent suggestion. I'll come to you, Mr. Manik Paul from Vikram Solar. Again, these sensors are there, they are generating a lot of data, humongous amount of data. And once this humongous amount of data is being generated, how do you effectively maintain high levels of security from the production and operational environment? How do you ensure that?
Good afternoon, everybody. I think this is a big challenge. The OT security, I personally feel, is a big challenge, and I think we have to go for a long path, you know. We are trying a lot of things. I think Kripaditya talked about, and he talked about separate VLAN, differentiating IT. I think the biggest challenge, of course, is, you know, something of the awareness, because you are dealing with a separate set of people, you know, who are not used to all this IT security awareness, where they need to think about device security, IT security, you know, system security, network security, user access management, you know, login, everything, you know, so they need to handle everything. Now, coming back to your question, that how are you managing all this data? So, all our, you know, the machines, they have edge devices where all the data are stored in the same LAN, but a different virtual LAN. And then those softwares, you know, there is a edge computers, you know, the softwares are again filtered, and only the meaningful data is transferred to cloud for a separate analysis of data. And there is a separate mechanism where the vendor is assisting us in, you know, purging all those unmeaningful data from the system. So it's all inbuilt as a part of the application layer, which has been developed by the person who has given us the machine, and also the application layer. You know, as of now, this is a black box for us, for all the CIO. We have at least I can tell you that I have a very limited knowledge on all this SCADA related softwares. And at Vikram Solar, if I see in the manufacturing side, you know, you have, you know, coming from a Chinese company, coming from a Swedish company, so you have to deal with several vendors, and to convince them that you have to follow these IT security guideline and the IT policies, and also to explain those policies to the soft floor people. Challenge, you know, those people, and our processes are also like that, you know, it's fully integrated with, so we capture a lot of data directly from, there's a machine called Sun Simulator. So it gives, when you finally manufacture module, do a flash test. So all the IV curve data, you know, all input parameters, what is the current, what is the voltage, and what is the watt peak of the total module, you know, all those are captured, and then SAP takes a decision based on some rules and logics, that it decide that what parameter can be a B grade, which is like our quality grade. And so all these decisions are, you know, coming from the data which you're capturing from the machines. So, so it's fully integrated. So to convince them and come into an agreement that they also have to follow all the security guidelines is a big challenge for us, and we are gradually overcoming. The other challenge, other side of our business is O&M business, operation and maintenance business, which is, you know, where we are setting up a power plant, and it is also connected to SLDC, state level distribution center, you know, where the, you know, SLDCs, the state level SLDCs, they connect to our power plant and also capture all the power generation data. So there also the SCADA data are connected to a local LAN, and then the server, and again the SCADA software is given by Greenwave, Siemens, and there are different companies.
Okay.
And they've got different protocols. You know, so it's a big challenge, but we are following. We have some policies which are framed out, and we are following those.
Okay, so the importance of defined business processes and policies and SOPs. Maybe I'll come back to Mr. R.N. Patra. Coal India, as we know, is one of the largest PSUs with almost all the coal mines across the country operating under it. So, and being a PSU, obviously there is still a large amount of legacy things still around. So, it's interesting to know how, from a PSU perspective, this shift when we are talking about IT and OT security, from a predominantly legacy environment, what are the challenges still remains, and how are you sort of transitioning from that legacy to the next gen?
Yeah, it is a very good question. Of course, not in only Coal India, in most of the old organizations, a lot of systems are from legacy systems are there. when you are transiting from this to a IT environment or something like that, so you have to take care of the legacy systems. In that case where legacy systems are there and you have to put it on IT and OT environment, so first you have to think of that all the data should be transmitted through a secure channel. Either it may be a private MPLS or maybe a private, you can say, networking, so that securing the channel will give you a protection from the data should not go out of your control. So second point is for the legacy systems where the IT or sensors have been put, of course, there are so many challenges, but still that can be managed with a policy and you can say role-based systems, integration with the new IT systems that can be managed and it can be also transformed to a digital platform. So, and for any new projects or any new digitations coming up, so in that case, of course, you can plan accordingly so that all this IT and OT should be on the same environment, should be on better handshaking mode and all these things.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kripadutti Sarkar, I'll put this almost the same question, obviously not from the PSU perspective. But the legacy transition is equally relevant for even the private organizations. So when we are shifting from legacy to this next gen, from an OT security perspective, what are the main challenges that today you are facing other than that cultural thing, or the shop floor you mentioned, other
So
than that?
primarily the major challenge, as you already stated, and he also mentioned that the systems are varied. I mean, there are based on the priority of the shop floor. They actually put something very old system where there is no care. There are some systems are very relevant and very new where they need most of the output. So therefore, based on that, from my stand view or from the organization stand view on the IT policy treated all the OT in the same language. So they do not have any priority because security does not care about the how it is being utilized. So that's the main challenge because from business angle of the perspective, they see a OT device on their perspective of the output or throughput. And we see from the security and vulnerability can even in a smallest hole in a not even in a window shield, it can be on a false ceiling. So therefore for me it's entirely 100% is my periphery and for them based on their priority. So that's a major challenge where upgrading something, upgrading the patch, upgrading the any of the monitoring utility on a not so relevant from the revenue perspective device is a challenge. And second challenge is the distributive nature of the workplace, because in Ambuja Neotia we have a real estate business, we have a hospitality business, and we have a healthcare. So in a real estate, so the most of the places are very remote. So my SCADA, all the machines are actually placed in a barren land. So because whenever the construction happens, it's a barren. So after construction, it's actually very much utilized by either mall or hospital or the hospitality hotels like that. So therefore making a network with secured network, because extending we are always segregating those sites from our main network, but in anyhow we have to establish a security protocol everywhere. So that needs a investment, and that investment does not have any ROI, because after 2 to 3 years that site will be changed. So therefore, again, reusability, how we can utilize the devices, again, network policy, how can be implemented, who will going to monitor, because since it's a remote from the HO, so IT cannot directly monitor all the threats and every time. So those are the primarily challenge. So anyhow, we are now bridging that, keeping a representative from IT every places where it is name monitored, because we know that the threat that we understand in our eyes is not a similar understanding the person from the project or the person from the shop floor can have the same eye, because they only see the log, and when a log is actually red, they say that there is something red. But we also know that some yellow can also potential to be red, and even larger deep dark red.
Okay, thanks. Sriram, I'll come to you. You have already mentioned the one important recommendation about separating the two networks. But beyond that, I would like to say still, if we see roughly, some survey says IoT deployments, when you are talking about, half of them are still not successful happening when a lot of these sensors are being put in. Other than the challenges that you mentioned, what else is causing these failures, according to you?
See, one of the most important things is, first of all, he has mentioned that point, that Q he has given, the distributive nature of these assets.
Okay.
So these assets are distributed across. The first thing that is happening is that, I do not know how many assets I have, where they are.
Okay.
So that is first fundamental thing. Then second thing is, okay, I know the assets where they are. Now, am I able to, understand how they are connected and what kind of a workflow is available to them? That is another challenge, that we have. And thirdly, when I'm controlling, what kind of control that I'm giving, that actually, if it changes, it has a, catastrophic impact on the operations. So that is another challenge, that where people fear, to make any changes or to come forward to make any changes. That is a third kind of a challenge that, people, always they feel about. And with respect to the cybersecurity, if you see there, the challenge that you see is, uh, the identifying what kind of an exposure it gives.
Exactly.
So that actually, that is something is, should not be, a self-judgment. We should try to rely on, people who are experts, ask them to come and review the environment and see the flows, and then identify why, what are the gaps in my system, so that whenever I'm deploying anything, so it really works or it doesn't break. So that kind of an assessment is also very, very important. That realization comes, as it is like right now we are in the faltering steps. So as the maturity, or as we get more failures, we learn from those failures and then start learning them. So how the industry is now doing is that they're actually failing somewhere. They're understanding the reasons for the failure, trying to learn from those failures, and then trying to recover and then implement the new things. So, but what will happen? This will not go. This will improve the maturity. On the positive side, if you say, this will improve the maturity of the understanding of the subject. And then thereby slowly the failure rates will come down. So that is the positive side I want to mention here.
Okay.
One point to add, he has rightly mentioned, and also in our HO or other in IT systems, we have we can create a prototype, putting a network down and putting a other VLAN. And in the production system,
Obviously.
so it's only production. There is no development quality, only production. So single instance, we have to do all the testing, VOT,
Just
every.
can't stop
Correct.
production.
So that's the major challenge we are facing, because even if we identify the patch, it is very, very hard to take a call. Yes, put it there.
And one last thing I want to say is that people are mostly, means when any device you are procuring, people have a tendency to do only the positive testing. They never do the complete coverage of testing. Negative testing is never there. That is one another reason why many of the devices, though they work, but eventually they fail because you have not done the negative testing.
Okay, great. Mr. Manik Paul, we heard about this maturity curve where we are, and that a lot of organizations are trying to look at third-party solution providers. But my question is, especially in the Indian scenario, how many third-party solution providers themselves are mature enough to provide advice on this? Yeah, on the IT front, we know obviously there are a dime a dozen solution providers with enough maturity, but the OT security part, I know some of the security vendors are providing now, but really, what is the real scenario in the Indian context?
I think it's still evolving, and everybody is, even the vendor and we are all the customers, so we all are working together. So for Vikram Solar, what we are trying to do is that for all these O&M sites, which Kipaditya says are all very remote, like we've got about 20 O&M sites, which are very remotely, they are all remote and it's very difficult to maintain. So what we are trying to do is that we are trying to work out and working with different vendors, and we are working on a centralized asset management system, wherein the east side, the SCADA will be connected to a centralized server, and you'll be able to manage this entire operations of these O&M sites centrally sitting, and there'll be a central ticketing system, there'll be a central support system. All your MTTR, MTBF report will be, can be managed, uh, managed. You can have a digital twin, you can find out what is the generation which you're making. So all these things we are working on a solution is almost finalized. And, based on that, we are also actually developing our GTM. And there is a separate company is being formed called VP Utilities Limited. So they will be taking care of the O&M business for different other solar module, EPC based companies. So that's one area which we are currently working, and we are looking at all kind of security, that what ports should be open, how do we connect the SLDC, what kind of security protocol we will have, and what kind of, whether it's a POFINet, BACnet, and what kind of protocol through which we capture the data on a central server, what frequency it will come, what kind of security. He's talked about MPLS, IPsec, what, and also the data traveling on an encryption mode. So these all aspects which are looking at present, and we are working with various vendors. I am telling you, there are vendors, there are some of them are given very good cybersecurity solutions. And we have found out some vendors, and they have done good work. One of the vendor which you talked, a very startup companies called Energio, they have developed this kind of solution. It's a secure solutions with multiple layer of security, and their solutions is also very modular. They have developed a solution for solar, for wind energy, and with all kind of securities inbuilt.
Okay, great. So just like the previous panel discussions, very brief, rapid fire kind of thing. 30 seconds to each panelist, starting with Mr. Patra again in that sequence. On the OT front, one action which is planned in the next 5-6 quarters.
To my previous answers, just I am adding one more thing in case of the legacy systems, what you told at that time. In legacy systems, the operational procedure and process are tested. So we know where is the failure points and where are the vulnerable points. So accordingly, you have to deploy the IT equipments. So in OT environment, from the point of view of the security, there are 3 steps has to be followed. One is isolation, second is orchestration, third is the rapid recovery system in case of any attack. These 3 has to be kept in mind. You have to plan your IT and OT deployments, so that if in case, you cannot say that your system is 100% safe. If in case any attacks comes, you have to recover from the attacks with a very short time without affecting your business process.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sharma.
2 priorities. First priority is bringing all the OT devices into standard platform, because right now we have various versions on the firmware, software, and the OS. That's the first priority. And second priority, to implement the single policy for the all locations, all devices, a single policy to monitor and implement the security of that. These are the 2 things.
Sriram.
Yeah, I'm not repeating because we do have the same thing in our plate. I'm going to add to that. Our goal is actually, in the next 2 years, we must become a cyber security resilient, system we should become. To do that, the first thing that we have identified is a common policy must be there. And second thing is people, process. These 2 things are very, very important. Awareness must be built to the people. That is a fundamental thing. We are also trying to conduct certain mock drills, as well as blue teams and the red teams concept we are introducing, so that we are actually preparing the people how they face these events and then how they react, so that how quickly we can come out. That kind of an exercise we need to give it to them. So we are planning for the drills so that we truly become the resilient system.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Manik Paul, you have the last word.
Yeah, so the two things which I have formed a dedicated team of 2 persons, and we have told our organization that right from the tendering process, they have to involve IT. So if they are designing any structure, IT network structure, they have to come through IT. So all this IP range and everything has to depend by them. So that control which you have taken. Second thing which you are doing is that we are focusing now on asset management. So the centralized asset management, we know that where are all the OT assets located, and how many OT assets are working and how many OT assets are not working. The third thing, which is very important for us, the awareness training. So we have taken a 15 minutes dedicated time slot for every open floor that we organize in the company for IT security awareness.
Okay, that's great to know. Great, thanks. Would conclude the panel discussion here. Before finishing, I'll request Souvik to hand over a token of appreciation to all the panelists. Can we have the tokens? Mr. Manik Paul. Mr. R.N. Patro. Mr. Kripaduti Sarkar. Mr. Sriram Chavali. I would request all the panelists to join for a close photograph. Thanks to all the panelists. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. We have the next panel discussion of the day. This is basically on disseminating emerging technologies in securing enterprises. We'll talk about how technologies like blockchain, then organizations are deploying AI and analytics. What are the security challenges there? Augmented reality, virtual reality is being deployed. Robotics are being deployed, and what are the security challenges thereof as a result of this that organizations are facing? We have three panelists for this session, and let me welcome on stage Mr. Sudipta Vishwas, AGM IT and CISO of Imami. Round of applause for Mr. Sudipta Vishwas. Next, we have Mr. Raman Kumar Singh. He's a DGM IT of UCO Bank. Let me welcome Mr. Prakash Tripathi, GMIT Sham Steel Industries. So again, very varied panelist, core infrastructure, steel, FMCG, Imami to BFSI, UCO Bank. So let me start, and blockchain is one of the major of these emerging technologies that we are talking about. And let me come to the banking person first, Mr. Raman Kumar Singh. How effective has been blockchain, especially for banks, in terms of adding to security level in banks and lowering operational costs and improving the transparency? We remember a few years back during the PNB, Punjab National Bank case, there were a lot of studies subsequent to that maybe blockchain usage could have prevented a lot of things what would have happened. So, banking perspective, and that too from a PSU bank perspective, how is blockchain as an effective security measure?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you, everyone. Now, sir has rightly told that one of the big fraud that India has come to know, that is Nirav Modi fraud, that was basically based on the concept of remittances and the trade finance. That whole fraud was based on this concept. Money trails was not there. Now, I will come to that, and then how this blockchain will help us in eliminating such type of frauds in future. India is still going through the transition. It has not been adopted totally. Now, what was happening there, everybody know, I think so, that few people were able to have the access of the system, and the system was not that much secure. They were able to create transactions, lodge bills, transfer money, and there was no control on it. Only user ID password was there. Subsequently, 3i concept was also introduced. Still, whatever transactions were done, these transactions were not, there was no authenticity, or there was no validation on those transactions if somebody is modifying, whether he is a legitimate user, whether the trade has happened or not. So blockchain, once the blockchain concept will come, it has not totally come in India. It is still under the RBI has been testing through their regulatory sandbox, and slowly it will come up, because it will remove all those type of frauds. How? It will have more transparency and security. Suppose in a transaction there are two persons involved. I am the user. Suppose in a banking also, see, if I want to send a money to somebody else, now money is going to transfer from my side to you. Now both of should acknowledge that this is a legitimate transaction. So that thing will, blockchain in simple terms will introduce, and if any modification is there, there will be a trail of it, and that transaction itself will not get saved into the system if the user and the other checks are not validated in the system. So this will in fact not only increase the transparency, but money laundering that is happening, that is a big problem of India.
Exactly.
That money laundering will be eliminated or will be easily traced, because government is fighting with this, not able to find out the trails, whether the transaction has happened and there was some trade behind it, or it was just a money laundering transactions. Government is not able to establish as of now. The technology are not that much robust available. So in future is blockchain will remove, once the technology is taken and it is introduced in the banking system, bank as a whole, then definitely all these challenges will be met up. Another thing that everybody knows, that India is coming up with its digital currency. Everybody knows that our central bank has already running a pilot project and digital currency with certain big banks and private sector banks and SBI and all is being tested at various centers. The technology behind it is a blockchain technology. Now, I'm just thinking, I don't know, tomorrow, see, there are crores of money lying, physical money is lying in everybody's house, or most of the people's house. We are every day hearing news and seeing also that this much money has been recovered from illegal money. And all these things, once the whole digital concept will come, all these things blockchain will be very much helpful in taking control of these transactions, any wrong transactions through this digital currency. Tomorrow it is definitely going to happen. So the blockchain will help in all those concepts. Thank you.
I'll come back to you on this point later. I'll come to now Mr. Shudipto Biswas. From an FMCG perspective, a lot of AI and analytics are being used to gain meaningful insights. In fact, all the predictive marketing for an FMCG company are done on basis of these insights. So when you are applying those analytics on the data that is being generated and effectively using AI, as a consequence, what are the security challenges that are coming up and how are you tackling that?
Good evening, everyone. So data, whatever we are accessing or analyzing, so it's we need to think about the security of the data, how it should be available to the users, and how we can access them, how we can process that one. So based on that, we can think about the what technology we can put and what technologies are relevant for that one. In case suppose a data which should be available to the public one, so can I put them in a blockchain? Is it going to help me? Because those data can be available to the public and where user can see the trustness and truth of the data. Now, some of the insights data, we can also go with that. Even the data which we are currently, if we see about the blockchain, it has a core features. The feature says about the, I can only update the data, I can create the data, but blockchain does not allow you to delete the data. So that's a core functionality of that one. Even it comes with the baseline security. That's a, it's built up with the, it's grown up with the itself security cryptography technologies that are there. So whatever data is there, so whatever you are doing, you cannot change that one. So it should be intact and it should remain the same. So in such cases, whatever analysis we are doing, suppose somebody wants to change that one, so that cannot be changed, cannot be altered itself. It's remain the same, and the whatever output we will get, it's remain the actual output. There is no discrimination or there is no miss out of the information or misutilization of the information there. So that is going to a good result, and the whatever may be the output we are getting, so that would be nice. Now if we are applying the AI technology on that, so result would be very much perfect and there should not be any misinformation to be there. So
Okay.
that's definitely going to help to predict how we should do and how the data and what are the futuristic things we can build on that part. Let's talk about some of the things. Suppose I collected some of the information from a customer and I'm predicting that the on X day and X location on X year, so that would be my production, or that would be my uh, targeted production or sale to be. So on that case, if the data is correct, so definitely we can see the output, and based on that, definitely that will help my entire business to plan
True.
all the things and how we can do the like now my how my production is going to be, how my supply chain will going to manage that one. So based on those kind of information, definitely going to help us. And blockchain is the one of the key thing where we can see it will help us. Even I would say if we like to use the blockchain in our supply chain or the delivery systems or the material management system, asset management, that is definitely going to help the business to run properly.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Prakash Tripathi, now coming from a core infrastructure sector, steel industry, what sort of newer technologies it can be, as I mentioned, virtual reality, augmented reality, robotics, AI, analytics, blockchain, or even additive manufacturing is there. So what are these new technologies that you are looking at, and what are the security challenges coming with adoption of these new technologies?
So first, thanks to all of you and good evening. So if technology is there, challenges is always there. So we are from the Siam Steel, you know, our tagline is flexi and strong. So technology should be flexi, but security should be strong. Now come to the point, AI, automations or new technology, AR, VR, how a manufacturing industry is going to use. So in my recent case study in Siam Steel, we design a product, and that product is totally based on the AI and the AV. What happened, everybody know in a Kolkata and suburb in entire Bengal or throughout India, lot of banners and the glow sign is going on with the Siam Steel, our bird leaf, lot of brands going on. How AI will help us? So what happened, we design a application with the image processing and the AI. So our sales people visit in the market, automatically they will get the notification nearest to the glow sign. They capture the image with the image processing, and AI will check this month the image size is that, the quality of image is that. Actually our back office team verify and update that image, because the cost of image is not very high, the cost of that place is very high. If you put a banner in Park Street, the cost. So here in that AI in our perspective is going to help us from the branding and monitoring. Now come to the blockchain part. Now what happened? Everybody's move on a blockchain, cloud, securities. But if you ask, why blockchain chahiye kyun? So people should confuse. नहीं chahiye. Because the vendor says, the people says कि blockchain chahiye. Because I had worked from my last company in the core banking securities. So what happened? We have working on the different technologies, and I realized that definitely, like in a banking, blockchain is very vital in case of KYC.
Yes.
Because most of the bank, the KYC done by the third parties. मेरे आधार पे third party क्या कर रहा, I don't know. But with the help of blockchain, the customer know कि that person is doing something. So the core of banking and financial is that KYC. If we move to the Amazon or like Siam Steel, so we cannot use in a KYC because we have different type of KYC compared to bank. But yes, in a supply chain, from our plant, from our distributor, from our dealer, how the things is moving. So in this area, we are going to using blockchain. Like we have designed a product, and that product is basically built by our IT vertical Siam Future Techs, the complete office automations tools using blockchain, the DMS using the blockchain. Because ultimate blockchain is going to stop the copy of your documents, modification of your document. So the pilot project is running. Very soon we are launching in a market how you can protect your document using blockchain technology.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting because
Blockchain-based DMS.
DMS. Because most of the people are giving the DMS with the, you can scan it, share it, this. But what happening next? Your document, if you share your document with third party, they can modify that document. Why they can modify it? You have to use the blockchain technologies. So every technologies have multiple things. There is pro and there is cons. Okay. So I think depend on the organization, depend on the industry, depend on the domain, we can adopt the technology and use it.
Okay, great. You have given an interesting question, which I'll now put to Mr. Raman Kumar Singh again. Banks, KYC mentioned. KYC we know is a critical component of banks, and now we are going, especially after COVID, e-KYC, video KYC, and this leaves obviously scope for a lot of, and maybe not just PSU banks. It would be wrong for me to say only PSU banks. A lot of private banks also don't have employees with all the skill sets to gather eKYC data. So what are the security challenges the whole KYC process creates, and how are you looking from a bank perspective to tackle that?
Now, this in banking, Aadhaar is one of the great enabler. And earlier in banking, we were
Here, just, and I would like to add, which I have first thought, another question, the BFSI. We have seen the UPI transactions, the volume of UPI transactions, and just yesterday there is a national survey. The two largest cities doing cashless transactions. It's very surprising. The largest is Aizawl, second is Kolkata, across nationally. So unlike Kolkata has completely shifted to UPI. It's just we carried the news only yesterday. So this UPI transactions, cashless transactions, what sort of security challenges that also brings?
now UPI is now common to everyone now. As you already told, Calcutta is using, most of the persons in Calcutta is using UPI. There is innovations of a new era, and it is already there in many countries now. Apart from India, it is more than 10 or 15 countries, and one of the best economy of the world, Singapore, is also using this UPI. That means this UPI technology is already having better security coverage. That is why Singapore has adopted it. It is one of the biggest, one of the robust economy of the world. So all those security measures UPI has already taken. There are FRM, that is eFRM we are telling, that is involved in that. Apart from the all PIN we are inputting there. There are some, whenever you are registering for the first time, You cannot transfer a money more than that you have to wait for certain time, and that
Exactly.
limit is there. Then there are EFRM involved. It is the software is checking to whom the money is getting transferred. All those, the logics are involved there. So these all logics on a real-time basis checking, and it is sometimes if you are able to, you are transferring money to somebody, this software will not allow to transfer the money to that we receive as a bank, we receive complaints from the customer, we are not able to transfer money to somebody, some X person. Then when we talk to NPCI, there are reasons behind the codes behind that you will receive it. We receive that 911 code is coming something, these codes are not happening. So certain times they are blocking certain users where money is, they are funding it, it's not a legitimate way of transferring money, and that user is they have involved in some transactions that they are finding it is not a genuine transaction. So these are the logic security concern as part of the, I'm not talking of technology part, I'm talking of the user part. All these security measures are being taken there. The backbone of, because we are also as a bank, we are only user of that. It is maintained by the NPCI.
Exactly.
So, you will be wondered that how NPCI growing. Even if UCO Bank, it is a Kolkata's bank. We are the only PSU bank in the Eastern India. Now our volume, if I say here, is year on year, it is growing more than 50%. Last year, let us say if the volume was 30 lakhs per day, in a bank like UCO Bank, now this year it has touched around 50 lakhs, 45 to 50 lakhs. So we can understand that our own people of India is using this, initiating these transactions. Now banks, and what as a bank we are finding it. Suppose we have to think of next 5 years, what will be the transaction volume per minute or per second. TPS we used to say that we are, but whatever it is consumed within one or 2 year only.
Exactly.
And so that challenge we are facing as of now.
And the KYC part also.
And the KYC, KYC part mainly because of Aadhaar. Now about the core system that is nowadays API and all are very common. Everybody knows that, and that is we are consuming APIs from the IT department that for validating the PAN card and validating your Aadhaar card. So all those challenges I will believe the most of the challenges has gone as of now, as of KYC part is concerned. So that is being well taken by the after coming of the Aadhaar basically, because all the Indians are having Aadhaar as of now. Most of the Indians are having. So that part is being taken care. We are not finding such difficulty as of now as a banker. In earlier years, it used to happen.
Great, thanks. I'll come to next to you, Shubhito. That we touched upon, I want to you to go a little more detail on the predictive marketing, and which is again critical. So doing it safe and secure manner, but doing it effectively and optimally, if I may say, leveraging it. How are you balancing between the two?
First thing, the data or whatever information we are dealing with need to understand the data's privacy is required or not. That's a critical one. So some of the information that we are collecting and analyzing, so if that information needs a privacy, so then we have to think about the what technology we should use. So if we go with the blockchain even, so blockchain having a issue with the privacy. So now so if that has a issue in the privacy, shall I don't continue with that one? Then we have to think about the technology. Is there any alternative within which is available? Like can I go with the private blockchain where we have a control and where we can see now with the data whatever we have collected and working on that and doing such kind of things definitely require a security. Have a concern, first concern to be taken there, and we should work on that part and secure them itself. So designing a system which by default is secure, and the technology which comes by default with security definitely help to data securing the data, and with the secure data we can get more and more valuable result and valuable outcome that is going to definitely help the business to do more. Think how we can serve more and what I can do in future. So that prediction to be made. But in case the data, if the data is secure and alteration is not done. Now, if I go with the data alteration, if you see the blockchain, as already said, that you have an ability to create and update that one, but you don't have the ability to delete that data. So if you have to alter that one, so what you have to do, just you mentioned that the earlier record is not valid. Now, once the data is validated, so you publish that one and data is available to you. Now, such cases, so whatever information I am working, so I know the authenticity of that information. So if I have a authentic data, if I know the accuracy of the data, so what I am going to do with that data definitely is give me a perfect result. And what I will get, so definitely going to match that one. So my analysis and my plan should help me with such data, and that would be a more value add to the business that I would like to say.
Thanks. Mr. Prakash Tripathi, my question is, banks, we heard, highly regulated industry. Last night I was moderating in Bombay a discussion with the pharma companies, again a highly regulated industry. But you are coming from a manufacturing background, which is, though there are compliances now, but still compared to banks or pharma or those sort of sectors, regulations. So in that environment where the compliances are lesser, how do you build cybersecurity guidelines so that, or SOPs, so that organizations can conform to them? How do you do that?
So, like cyber securities in manufacturing. So, it's very simple to understand the security concept from the manufacturing point of view or from any industries. Okay. Always as a company, like in our organization, what I follow, there is hundreds of security features, hundreds of security guidelines, but all are not required to you. As per your industry needs, what are the mandatory parts? If you identify the area, these area, the security is required. Okay. You have to design your plan, and that plan should be very simple. Don't write a security proposal or the documentation like 100 pages. So your end user never understand. There is a criteria who will going to use your security, ultimate the end user. So identify the area, design the proposals, then focus on proper implementations. I know many companies, they are using a lot of tools and technology for the sector, but the implementation is very weak. I give basic example here. We are sitting here. Most of people are using iOS devices, some are Apple devices. When we install an application, we only click allow, complete. We never understand what they are asking. They are getting the authority to read my SMS. Bank is not liable for a fraud. We are basically liable for the fraud. We are installing an application and giving allow. What happened? Some person send me a message and automatically they read the SMS and your account is going to finish. So how many people are just giving the, if they install the playing application, allow to everything, my contact, my SMS, my photo, everything. They never think of what are the requirement of that application, how much information we should give the permissions for that application. Same in a security in an organization. The companies come, like security companies comes, mail security comes, firewall security. Sir, ye le lo, ye ho jayega. Problem is that we never focus on 5 to 10 minutes on our learning.
Exactly.
So the key for safety in an organization is the awareness and the learning. And always thanks to Webel, Webel take one initiative. They design their brochures, pamphlets, handbills on English, Hindi, Bengali. So the end people should understand.
Exactly.
अभी यहाँ बैठ के jargon बात कर लेंगे, कंपनी में जाएंगे, अरे यार वो प्रॉब्लम था, people should know क्या हुआ. So that's the problem. You have to understand how is your audience to understand the securities. Based on that, you can design your guidelines. In manufacturing, we have very much focus on security from the banking side, basically, because huge transaction happening in the raw materials purchase and the supply chain side. But yes, in a KY side, we are using the modern technologies, like a lot of, in a banking, the KYC is nowadays everyone providing the KYC services. You have to understand which vendor you should opt for your organization. Someone charging for the 5 rupees and someone giving the 2 rupees. Why 2 rupees? You have to understand. So where is the parameter? People are using the API, but they never test their API. Is your API secure? Bas API use kar lo. So problem is that you have to design your security guidelines based on your requirement, based on your functions, your department. In a organization, there is one security policy for the plants. There is one security policies for the branch offices. There is one policy from the HO, as well as there are overall policies.
Okay,
So it's depend on the type of industries and type of requirement.
okay, thanks. So, okay, so like the other three panels, I will now conclude it with a rapid fire round. And to each of you, one major action plan for next 12 months, starting with Raman Kumar Singh.
See, we are a PSU bank regulated by Reserve Bank of India. And RBI, our regulator, is very, very tough. And I will rather say they are far ahead than the world regulators in many ways. We have seen banking failing in other countries,
Exactly.
but India had never seen a bank's failure. Even if there is a failure, government take care of it. So our bank, as an Indian, we should be proud. Ki US has failed the banks. US, many banks recently also we have heard, and receiver was many Indian company.
Yes.
And that too, the fintech companies. Even then, our economy system, our banking system is so robust, and that is why people in India is having belief in the banking system.
Yes.
Not only
Crisis 2
now,
years back.
now that years has come and days has come, world is having faith in India. As you can understand that regarding UPI, as you were saying, world is talking of rupee trade. Can you understand? We were in a childhood, we were very happy having a dollar. We want to see a dollar, how dollar look like. But now, countries like Iran was doing earlier, Russia is doing now. Many other countries which are facing problem due to the present crisis going on. Government of India is trying to trade with other countries, developed countries, I would rather say, in rupees now. That means why we were trading in dollar, because people were having belief that if you are having a dollar, US will pay for it even if there is a failure. Now the countries in the world is having faith in the rupee. Even though if you see that $1 is costing around 80 rupees or so, even then world is having faith in India and Indian currency. And that is why people are and countries are ready to transact. As a UCO bank, I will rather say we were handling from Iran transactions earlier. Recently in the news also you have seen, because of this Ukraine war, India is doing transaction with Russia in their rupee transactions.
Okay.
We are handling that transaction also, and that is why you can see there is no any shortage of energy in India during this last 1 year also. You've seen that. Now, as your question was that RBI, they do our regular or quarterly inspection to the bank, and their team is very robust. They're a rabbit. The team is known that is rabbit. They're experts in that and securities have, and then they are auditing us. They are visiting us. They are auditing from their locations also, and they are putting us a guidelines and what the security measures has to be taken by the bank, that we have to give compliance on a monthly basis. So they are taking care of us. Whatever security they are features, they are trying posters and whatever things they are for all those banks, we have to do it. We cannot say that is why you can say all this security, we are procuring too much in the securities, too much, because of that only.
Okay.
That's what.
Thanks.
Thank you.
One measure.
Develop a system which is secure by design. So that's where we are working now. So whatever we build and whatever we do, so each and every application and the product, the IT support system to be secure, and people and the organization should be comfortable on that. Another part I would go, so robust and more security awareness to the users, that is which highly required. So each and every day the dynamics of security changing. So today X is the problem, tomorrow the X plus one. So it's increasing, and that changes. People should know and what they should do. Even if they don't know to whom they should reach. That's what the plan we have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Prakash Tripathi, the last word is with you.
So it's very simple. Within 2 minutes, my main focus is to train my end users on the securities. So we have a plan for the coming 6 months is a monthly security drive, 4 month email security drive, banking security drive, okay, social media security guides to my employees. If they understand the things, so automatically you will secure because everything is on a points. Ultimate, you have to take care of your end users. They are the main threat for the organization. Because intentionally, no, unintentionally, they will going to create the problems. So if they train, your organization is always secure. So focus on the training on the security side from the end user point of view.
Okay, thank you. So with that, we will conclude the panel discussion, and I'll request Shangomitra Mohanty to hand over a token of appreciation to the panelists. Can we have the tokens here? Mr. Prakash Tripathi. Mr. Raman Kumar Singh. Mr. Shudipto Bishwas. And I'll request all the panelists. Thank you. And I'll request Shobik to call for the next session.
Thank you so much, Rajneesh, and all the panelists for the last session. But now we're ending this conference with a very interesting presentation. It's a virtual presentation. We are joined by Amrit Chetri. He's a cybersecurity researcher, Rose Finch Consulting Services Limited, Private Limited. He's joining us from Siliguri, I've been told. And his presentation will be on the next gen advanced CSOC for cybersecurity readiness. So I think he has connected with us. So over to you, Amrit, for your special presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Souvik Goswami of APAC News Network for his invitation to this conclave. Hello, everyone. It is a great honor for me to be in this conclave as a speaker. Thank you all for having me here virtually in this conclave, National Securing Cyberspace for Digital Governance Conclave 2023. Myself, I'm Amrit Chetri, cybersecurity researcher, digital forensic expert, and author of 14 plus digital forensic research paper and articles. I'm also the managing editor of ICSRJ, an initiative of My Cyber House. Today's digital governance is not only ICT or super apps, but it ensures the digital comfort of managing information flow while experiencing the immersive experiences in the platform. The services in digital governance lives through digital transformation with adoption of success and the innovation in technology. These are the few of the cyberspaces of today's digital governance. Today's cybersecurity landscape is not simple, it's very vast. And it ranges from the data to sensor while ensuring the AI ethics and the compliances in actions and place. Public domains as well as the industry have been benefited from the different initiatives by government authorities and government organizations. Cyber Surakshit Bharat from Bharat for Pan India and Cyber Safe for Bengal. These are these few to name here. In recent days, NQM, National Quantum Mission, is one of the latest development in the field of the network security. And it is expected that new thing would come up in future with research and innovation. I shall touch cybersecurity readiness in the beginning, and they'll file to my actual topic, that requirement, challenges, and then the 6 steps of building CSOC for enterprise, SMEs, and smart cities, and would end with the networking at the end. Data is the deriving factor or the decision factor in digital transformation, and it is also true for cybersecurity. This silo of the governance meets cybersecurity, making it must in modern day digital transformation, starting with IoT to the cobots in manufacturing and virtual coins in central currency and digital payment ecosystem. Besides cybersecurity resilience, every transformation opens new horizon of experience and the expectations. New experiences with the innovation and the development in technology. And we are living in the age of Industry 5.0 with a new immersive experiences. Mapping of industries technologies with the business requirement and expectation, it's one of the trends in the future, and the same being observed by Eric Kremlin. All this needs a cybersecurity readiness, but only 24% of the Indian organizations have cybersecurity postures and mature enough to withstand, mature enough to be resilient for the cybersecurity risks in future. It is being observed and reported by Cisco Cybersecurity Readiness Index. Cybersecurity attacks are already sophisticated and then very advanced. And today's cybersecurity needs to be proactive, interactive, and automated in approach, instead reactive of the past. Today's attacks are not just 100, but they are in millions. In 2021, ransomware alone made 76% of the global attacks. And as per the studies, ransomware, phishing, and malware are the 3 threat vectors of 2023. Cybersecurity product and auditing are the 2 common security controls that we can think and amend for the next or future security. Those trends include resilience, zero trust, privacy, and the security automation. Recently, customer data leak of ICICI Bank and the malware attack in XDR have been a surprise attack to the cybersecurity world. And next-gen advanced CSOC is the answer or the solution to the same. Cybersecurity is organizational concern rather than the individual commitment. And direction from the management really helps in streamlining the cybersecurity practices. The very first approach to attain the cybersecurity readiness is securing the infrastructure of the organization, its diagnosis of the different challenges and the trouble. Those challenges are very complicated alignment with the business strategy, attack surface as management, and the security for the future. These are some of the key challenges or the requirements in next gen for the SOC of the future. Creating next gen CSOC is one of the solutions to meet the cyber warfare safe standard for cybersecurity of all sides of the network. It may be enterprise, business, and the smart homes. Key design trend of 2022 covers a new challenges in SOC design. In designing the future-proof SOC for the future and the present, there are certain considerations to be met in the architectural layer. Those include design pattern based on the case studies, threat modeling capacity with a futuristic consideration for the threat vectors for Industry 5.0, making the system itself secure by following the principle of secure by design and privacy by design principle. To take the advantage of some of the trends, keeping the threat management and the vulnerability intelligence in action inside the CSOC. One of the key challenges observed by Gartner in 2023 is the third-party vendor security management and integration of their security products and the services with the organization's CSOC initiative. Well-tuned smart homes Well-tuned smart homes is also in the need of security controls. That really gives the opportunity for the industry to focus on creating the new solutions, that is the micro or mini or small SOC for the smart homes, not only for the enterprises. In doing that, there are the considerations to be made for the same. Some of the consideration could be customizable security solution, affordable in different deployment options, operable or easy to access and operate by the simple users, deployment through different strong SLA with the consideration for the data privacy, and the cybersecurity resilience and the cybersecurity awareness program for the users of the micro or mini SOC from different organizations, MET, DSI, South India, Excellence Center of the state and the center, and the local police authority. As the CSOC for enterprise is already in actions, we don't need any such kinds of consideration. Here are the 60 steps toward the design of the really effective CSOC. It is time to move from the manual to the automation in keeping the design paradigm in actions with the open culture and the open architecture. Auditing the security controls through this SOC or adding the capability of the controls management, security control management is one of the key steps in CSOC. Process and procedure augmentation would give the new kind of experiences in making a future safe CSOC for any size of the enterprises. Modernization of the cyber resilience team with some of the exceptional trends, such as considering the inputs from the CSOC makes enterprise metaverse security and the cyber resilience team or a smart cyber resilience team were some of the common and have been already followed by the proactive organizations. Cybersecurity readiness and the SOC trends in cybersecurity strategy really makes the system very effective and secure. CISO has different priorities, but it is advisable to follow the common trends from the industry. CISO have their own priorities, but industry trending priorities also can be part of their master priorities. Hiring smart is keeping the smart hiring strategies, focusing, bringing the layoff staff and the at the best possible standards, reducing the attack surfaces and then complying with different standards from the government authority as well as meeting the international standards can be the some of the some of the priorities of the CISO. Another key initiative that is must for the CISO is endpoint security and responsible AI assessment. Besides that, to align with the national initiative, next priority could be the network security with quantum cryptography. Government has created its own stand in supporting the cybersecurity requirement and the initiatives. We can expect some of the new support from the support for the CSOC for the SMEs and smart homes. Some standard and regulation for the NAV IC and similar kind of the sensor, and the interfaces to the security center from law and enforcement point of view. In today's world, we are not free from direct brain exposure to the another person. Brain-computer interface, AI data lakes are the source of the new attacks. Some initiatives assessment of the AI from the NASCOM Responsible AI Assessment Framework, reporting the missing devices at the hardware level through IMI through CIR services of the portal. CIR portal allows to report the missing hardwares, missing mobile phones, and then blocking the services to the same. Proposed Digital India Act 2023 is meant to give the new dimension to the legal framework, or it is designed for replacement of the existing framework. Many organizations have started creating the skilled professional for cyber psychology and cyber forensic psychology domain for the COC as well as the private operators. As we are here in as the keeping the opportunity of the host state, here are some observations we made in the past. State has given tremendous efforts in making the IT infrastructure secure. Data Security Excellence Center under DIIT has created impressive footprint in cybersecurity awareness. Similarly, has sponsored quality professional for internship. And in aligning with the national policy for the data privacy, has launched the Anonymizer Hackathon 2023. It has really received appreciable amount of appreciation. In future, we can expect some of the new initiative, including state-level cybersecurity rewards and awards for the defender or the researcher, as well as an author and writers. In keeping the CSOC really effective, the expert or the architect can think of making some of the proactive approaches. Those include the openness in integration for the advisories from the South India, RBI, and DSCI. Promoting the startups for breeding the new kind of the solution for the internal or the external requirement. Then the encouragement for the cybersecurity CTF and challenges. And another is cultivating the culture of confidence among the workers and the staff of the organizations. Adopting best practices is really effective for the SOC. First thing is baselining. First one is baselining the requirement. On that baseline can maintain the other activities. CISO can create a set of the standard practices for the common function and the operation with checklist. Periodical assessment of the CSOC is one of the great effective approach observed in 2022. Capacity building is must to maintain the automation in organization, and it needs the continuous learning and upskilling and reskilling. Vulnerability assessment through all the four life cycle or stage is very important for any of the good SOC. In bringing the innovation in the SOC analytics, UBA and UAB should be integrated, can be integrated with the security analytics to really monitor the physical activities and to control the physical attacks such as dumpster driving, shoulder surfing, and others. SOC implementation, SOC implementation is always not free of the challenges. To really get the solution, can follow the standard practices. Some can be like this. Investigation issue can be resolved by following the standard lab standards such as 17,025. Observability can be increased by creating the data-driven strategies, and to bring the accessibility can run the hybrid model. As the transformation happens with the change of the technology, it is really effective to create the architecture that is flexible, open, and service-based or the integration-based. Different maturity model is effective in evaluating the maturity or the transition of the different phases of SOC in the enterprise or the individual in smart homes. It can be powered with the assisted SOC tools and so on. To support the smart SOC operation or to create a culture for the future, there are certain requirements the industry has observed. Hiring the staff with the smart thoughts and the smart process really helps in getting the best skilled professional. Keeping the open and the proactive culture makes the system effective and accurate. Smart agronomics is essential to give the flexibility and the health-oriented work culture to the staff. Other than that, keeping some other standard attractive practices is always essential. Training new skills is always expensive than retaining the existing one. Indian startup has been one of the key pillars to get some of the customized solution. Top three, which were reported in 2023, are the SecureDen, SecureTech, and Seconize. Seconize was started by the Sasank Dara and Chetan Anand and is doing really well in the vulnerability management and the assessment. At the end, industry needs engagement to the different spheres. And to bring the innovation in the SOC, there is a continuous upgradation and collaboration with the different organization and research institute. Here are some of the engagement fields where the innovation can be added. Use of generative AI in SOC. One of them can be for the customer care services if it is integrated for the third-party security. Vulnerability intelligence and user and analytics and the other user activities in UBA system. And use of the threat intelligence in forensic is one of the key requirements in modern days investigation. Recently, Kaspersky used their intelligence in finding or investigating one drug syndicate worth rupees $20,000. Future threat protection is not simple, and there would be a new kind of the threat vectors, and it needs a very strategic and the very accurate data-driven strategies to make the organization safe from the future attacks. Those include forensic threat intelligence in practice, along with the vulnerability intelligence. Considering vulnerability in the investigation, whether the automated or the manual, is one of the key advantages. In future, we can see the sum of the tools that is based on the vulnerabilities-based assessment of the network. That means vulnerability-based assessment of the forensic triage. Or in one word, forensic triage covering the vulnerabilities intelligence. Or in precise word, forensic triage powered by threat intelligence. Organization, when they have to deal with the complex situation of cybersecurity, internal team can focus not only in implementation but also in the resource. Those include the use of game theory for practice and the blockchain-based SOC in the trial basis. Understanding the way how industry should be understood by the internal team is crucial. One of the way is enterprise learning for outstanding performance. Every learner needs healthier brain, and the exercises and the sum of the healthcare focusing brain as one of the key central point is effective and trending starting 2022. Organizational support for the upskilling, especially for certificates and the attractive, is always effective, although the old trend. Best practices from the CISO and CIO is effective. In doing that, some of the reference book, it's always be effective in making a really effective best practices. For CIO, one of the a great book is Why Digital Transformation Fails by Tony Saldana. Data-Driven Security by Jay Jacobs and the Bob Woodies. In this lesson, we now read the session of the session takeaways. Some resources in upskilling practices and all are collected and are made accessible. Those are not. Read the session of the takeaways. The first one, some resources over the topic covered. Some knowledge about the statistics of the cyber threats and the cyber landscape. 27%, only 24% of the Indian organization is ready to withstand or to be protected in future threats. Third section is then the set of the tools and matrices. Some latest understanding about the new tool like Magnet Axiom Cyber for automated forensic triage and Microsoft Security Pilot for the Microsoft Security Pilot for the Cybersecurity Defender. Here is the time for the professional networking. All QR codes for the LinkedIn, Twitter, and Co are here. I love to be connected and happy connecting here. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. That was Amrit Chetri joining us from North Bengal. He gave excellent presentation on the next gen advanced SOC for cybersecurity readiness. Thank you, Amrit. That brings us to the end of the event called National Securing Cyberspace for Digital Governance Conclave, organized by APEC News Network and hosted by the Department of IT and Electronic Government of West Bengal and supporting partner Webel and Cybersecurity Excellence Center of Excellence. We thank our partners also, Thales, Ra Infotech, associate partner Netscope, and exhibitor Webel, Fujisoft Vara Center of Excellence, Industry 4.0. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye. See you in some other initiative of APEC News Network. Bye bye, Kolkata. Group photo. Group photo. Team APEC.